Hi, everybody. So I'm going to draw three concentric circles. That's basically three circles that are inside of each other. And you might notice that these are similar to the concentric circles that are on your worksheet. So that is a clue for you to follow along as I'm filling the concentric circles out on my computer. And these circles, I hope, will really help illustrate the relationship between AI, or artificial intelligence, ML, let me write that in a different color. Let's make it blue. ML, which is machine learning, and DL, which is deep learning. This is AI. So in broad terms, like I said in the last video, that means any technology where computers mimic humans. But there is a huge difference between the complexities of different AI algorithms. Some are super simple, like rule-based chatbots. I'll explain what those are later, but I'm going to put those in the AI only category. Others, like neural networks that can detect faces, are super advanced. I'll explain what those are later in the video as well. But that would go in the deep learning category. That's where our next distinction comes in. A subcategory of AI is machine learning, or ML. The biggest differentiator between AI and ML is that AI includes technologies that are rule-based. So let's just underline the rule-based over here. And machine learning does not. So an example of a rule-based AI could be a chatbot where you tell it exactly what to say. For example, you could tell the chatbot, if a person says hi, you say hi back. So it's kind of like an if-then statement. So then you say hi back. If a person says, I'm sad, then you say, what's wrong? And so on. So it's basically you tell the chatbot exactly what to expect. So only when the person who's chatting with the chatbot types, I'm sad, will the chatbot say, what's wrong? And if the person says something that you haven't given the chatbot a response for, so for example, I've only told the chatbot what to say when somebody says hi and what to say when somebody says I'm sad. But if somebody types something like, what's the weather today? Well, maybe you can tell the chatbot, for everything else, say, I don't know. As you can tell, I have given the chatbot a set of 3 rules. And no matter what the other person types, the chatbot is always going to follow one of these 3 rules. It's not going to come up with anything on its own. I've given the chatbot a set of responses, and I know that the chatbot is always going to say hi, or what's wrong, or I don't know. Machine learning, on the other hand, is where a machine learns using patterns. In one example, machine learning can include training an AI to detect patterns in emails. So it can automatically detect which emails are spam and which emails are not spam. Spam emails are usually emails that you haven't signed up for. They're usually like discount codes for a store, they advertise a sale, and other emails like that. They basically clutter your inbox. In machine learning, the algorithm is essentially learning. You would show the algorithm a bunch of examples of one category, say non-spam emails, and the algorithm would notice which words usually show up in non-spam emails. It notices a pattern. Then you would show the algorithm a bunch of examples of the second category, also known as spam emails. The algorithm would notice which words commonly show up in spam emails. And all of you can think back to spam emails that you have gotten, or maybe you've seen in your parents' inboxes. Usually words like deal, or offer, or limited time show up in spam emails. So it looks for patterns in the wording of these spam emails as well. Then, when you show your algorithm a new email, so this is a new email that has come to my inbox, an email that it's never seen before, the spam filter that you've trained will be able to automatically sort it into spam or not spam based on the patterns that it has learned when it was training. So over here, it was training and it was noticing these patterns. And then for a new email, it will be able to notice whether it's spam or not spam using these patterns that it learned up here. So that's the main difference between AI and ML. AI is rule-based and ML is pattern-based. So it learns using patterns, and AI, in and of itself, doesn't really include any pattern-based learning. It could not include any learning at all. It could just be rule-based. So you have to tell this AI over here exactly what to do. It doesn't learn on its own. Once you create a rule-based AI for a certain number of examples, you can't apply it to an unknown example, like we did over here with the spam email. We showed it an unknown email with words that it probably had never seen before. ML, on the other hand, is pattern-based. You have to tell it exactly what to learn, but you don't have to tell it exactly what to do. So you don't say, if this happens, then do that. If this happens, then do that. It will use what it has learned from the training examples, these training examples, and it will apply it to examples it has never seen before, like these examples. Then there's also a subcategory of ML. It's called deep learning. That would go in our innermost circle. The main feature of deep learning is that it's more thorough and more powerful than regular ML. Deep learning consists of all of the ML algorithms, so all of the pattern-based algorithms that are modeled after the human brain. So once again, this is my super artistic drawing of a human brain. And these are known as neural networks. So let's look at the meaning of that word just for a second. So neural stands for brain. You guys might think that it sounds kind of like neuron, which are the cells that make up our brain, and you guys would be exactly right if that's what you were thinking. So neural networks are basically networks of neurons. And just based off of that name, you guys can hypothesize or you guys can predict that neural networks are very closely based on the human brain. So the human brain was actually the inspiration behind neural networks. And that's why I think that the intuition behind how neural networks work is really easy to get just because we know how we ourselves learn, and that's kind of how neural networks learn as well. So that's basically the difference between AI, ML, and DL. To summarize, AI is rule-based. So only rule-based. That's what you would put on the outermost circle. ML is pattern-based. That's what you would put in the inner circle. And DL is also pattern-based, but more specifically based on how the human brain itself learns. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we will be going over an overview of certain types of machine learning and deep learning algorithms.